Man One,
What up?
one of the old school OGs of Los Angeles,
man,
right?
that old.
I mean, how long you been writing?
Since 1987.
That's officially old school, my friend. Since 87, we're now going to go forward 32 years.
Oh, shit.
Can you believe that this is what art has turned into?
Can I believe it? Actually, I can believe it because this is why I do it. You know, when I was 16 years old when I started doing it, and I always imagined that I would be making a living doing this somehow, and that eventually people would catch up to the art form. And obviously, this is what the times we're living in, where people have caught up to graffiti, street art, the whole culture. And it's amazing, you know, to be actually like living it. But yeah, it's awesome.
3 generations of grinding. You see a lot of people fall off on the wayside.
Right.
You're probably one of your very last friends that are still going. What kept you going when others quit?
What kept me going was just my passion for what I do. You know, there's nothing else that I love more than painting and doing my art, and you know, being able to market it, sell it, make a career, raise a family. You know.
So the Man One plan was to have no backup plan.
It was plan A, and that was it.
Do or die, though, right?
Yeah.
So when you come to something like Designer Con
Right.
and you see all these different artists of all these different disciplines,
Right.
what do you think is the common thread that pulls it all together?
I think it's just people just want to express themselves. They they want to show the world who they are. They want to be seen. They want to be you don't have to be famous to the whole world, but if you're able to just touch a couple people's interests and hang on their walls, that's awesome. So I think that's what everyone's dream here is, how can I get my stuff on people's bedroom walls?
I'm curious, when you've been creating as long as you have, do you feel like you start to hit the limit on new things you want to do, or does it always feel endless? Like, do the possibilities still feel as endless today as they did in '87?
The hard part is always moving in a different direction, doing something different, something new, because when you think you're innovating, you're probably not. But what happens with me is a lot of times I work with a lot of clients also, and sometimes clients ask me to do weird shit that I wouldn't have normally done.
So they kind of push you in a direction.
They're the ones who actually push me to oh, you know what? That's cool right now. Okay, maybe I'll do that. So and that's what I'm have some of the stuff here that I'm showing that it's kind of in that direction where, I took it from one place and I didn't see it going to another place until someone said, hey, you know what? Why don't you do it this way? And all right, why not?
So you're one of the few people in this room that knows the pride of designing a T-shirt, right? It's 14 inches by 16 inches, and you're proud of it.
Yeah.
But you also know doing a 14 by 16 foot wall.
Yeah.
How is the pride different in those two projects?
For me, the walls are that's the canvas. That's the ultimate canvas for me. Being on a street wall somewhere in the city, and everything else, comes down to scale, and it's basically how can I do something. It's not always exactly what you're doing on the wall or whatever, but how can I do something that has that flavor and bring it down to scale on a poster, on a T-shirt, on a sticker, right? It's always part of. I understand it's my brand, and I understand it's marketing of what I do, but at the same time, it's a piece of art. It's on different scales.
When you did your first legal wall,
Yeah.
probably all the times you were doing it illegally, you were dreaming man, one day people are going to hire me to do this and I can do it slower and take my time.
Yeah.
When you stood back from that first legal wall and looked back at it, did you feel like you really gone on a voyage?
Yeah, the first time I got $50 to paint a garage.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I told my dad, I just made $50 spray painting a garage.
Yeah.
And he goes, what the hell are you going to do with $50?
Buy more paint.
And I was like, oh man, I was on top of the world because I was like, if this neighbor pays $50,
Right.
then that neighbor will pay 50, and so on and so on. And my dad tried to shut it down. He was like, nah.
But an artist sees the path from $50 to $5,000.
Right, exactly. To me, it's the same thing. I mean, I remember telling my friends, let's do it on canvas because people can buy it. And I remember my friends just like, no, who's going to buy it? And I said, maybe not now. But some of our friends who are hanging out with us right now are going to become lawyers and doctors or professionals, and they're going to want our stuff on their walls, later, 20, 30 years from now. And I remember they were all laughing, and now our stuff is hanging on a lot of our lawyer friends' walls and stuff like that,
It made the voyage.
Yeah.
So when you look at Designer Con and
Yeah.
you look at all these different people here under one roof,
Right.
what's your biggest takeaway? Not only from this weekend, but
Right.
just like you've been on this insanely long, like interesting journey, doing your own thing the whole way. You got to walk away this weekend when you pack it all up feeling something. Do you know what that
Yeah.
vibe is yet?
Yeah, I mean, really, the vibe for me is just like understanding how what we do here, all of us, the toys, the the art, everything, is really becoming such a mainstream kind of thing.
Yeah.
And but also the art is still being appreciated.
Yeah.
It's not because before there was like this mainstream products, but there was no artist or designer attached to that mainstream product.
Right.
And this time, it's that's what it feels like to me. It's like people are not only interested in the merch, but they're interested in who designed it. They're interested in who the artist is, and that's amazing to me. And also being here just the last couple of days, so many people came up to me like, "This is the first time I've ever been here," and they love it. So.
You bring up a good point because it used to be the designer's job to be anonymous in the process.
Exactly.
And now companies go out of their way to make sure everybody knows who designed the
Yeah.
box, who designed this shoe, and they put them in the ad campaign as
Right.
well.
Exactly, and I mean, that's one of the things about all these different projects that I work with is sometimes they just want my name attached to it and my art and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, that's kind of what we're and it's important for me to like work with brands that are going to respect that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's also, I grew up in a time when like companies I will not mention wanted to just like jack me for my art and just
Right.
put it out with their own name.
Right.
Never mind that I was working with them or what my name was.
Right.
But now it's a different world, man.
Yeah, they've learned to embrace the culture because the cultures are just as big as the brands.
And the cultures can turn companies, especially now with social media. You can shut down a company in a couple tweets.
Man, always great to talk to you,
Right on,
man.
brother.
Thank you so much.
For sure.